Welcome to fly tying step by step. Today we'll be tying a rockworm pattern. We are going to tie a green brassie that represents them, and for that I'm going to use a size 10 caddis hook and a 2.5mm tungsten bead. You are welcome to use lead wire for extra weight, but the tungsten bead should be sufficient, seeing that we're using wire to do most of the fly as well. So to start off, we are going to lay a layer or a base of black thread. I'm using a 70 denier thread here. You can use basically any color, seeing that you are going to cover most of it with materials. Just make sure that you use a thread that is very easy to split, seeing that we are going to use the split thread technique as well. After putting a layer of thread on the hook, we are going to tie in some flashabou. You can use any color of flashabou you prefer. This one in particular is a pearl color. Tie it in on my near side. Go back. And now we're going to tie in our wire. As I said, this is a green one. I push my wire in just underneath the bead. Then wrap your wire alongside the shank of the hook. Make sure that it's following the curve of the hook, so that you don't get a strange shape. If you look at that, you will see the width is exactly the same all the way through. The reason being, if you twist your wire around your shank, it creates a very neat fly. Just going to half hitch my thread there. Now I'm going to take my wire. A little trick here is push down on your wire with your thumbnail to create a 90-degree bend, and then start your twists or turns. The reason for that is so that you have a 90-degree bend in your wire, and it just helps so that the wire sits neatly from the start on your hook. Make sure your wraps are nice and tight, one against the other, and just continue with that until you cover your hook shank. I leave a little bit of space just behind the bead, about half the bead width. It's for my extra materials to be tied in. You can use a thicker wire as well. This one is on the thinner side. I just find it wrapping easier than a thick wire. Rockworms are one of the most prolific insects in most of the water systems in the world, and if you pick up rocks, you will always see a green worm with a dark brown or black head. So here I'm just making a few turns behind the wire, then in front of the wire, and again behind the wire, just to secure the wire. Now you will see that the wire is 90 degrees to the hook. That is because I locked it in with a thread so that it stands up like that. Now all you have to do is wiggle it to break it off, or as some people call it, they helicopter it, and it will break off. The reason for this is when you do that, you get a flash break on that wire with no sharp edges. The other thing is, you don't want to use your scissors because it will just damage your scissors. Just another half hitch, and now I'm going to tie in my flashabou. I make 2 or so wraps behind the wire, and then I build up my wraps onto the wire. 3 or 4 wraps is adequate, you don't want too much. tie that in, 1 or 2 turns behind and in front, and cut away the excess. Now what we're going to do is, I'm just going to cover it with UV varnish. You can use other varnish as well. Sally Hansen's Hard as Nails will work, but the reason for the UV, it cures much faster than Sally's, and it creates a very nice effect on this fly. So I'm just going to cover it. I'm also covering the part where the flashaboo is directly on the hook shank, so that it doesn't come apart while fishing. So just take your time, cover it nice and even. You want a smooth layer all across the fly. Rockworms are not tapered, they are more cylindrical, and therefore we don't have to build up a taper on this fly. After curing your UV, we are going to tie in a single strand of peacock herl. We tie the peacock herl in at the base, in other words the thicker side of the herl. Peacock herl can be quite fragile, so make sure that you don't pull on it too hard. So what this is going to do is going to create a darker thorax or head part, seeing that a rockworm don't really have much of a thorax. And what it's also going to do is we are going to add some CDC to this fly. Even though rockworms don't have feelers, they do have legs, and the CDC just adds some movement to this fly. For that we are going to use the split thread technique. So all you have to do is just make sure that your thread is flat. You can flatten it with your nail and then just use your needle to split it. I've cut a piece of CDC and put it in my clip, just transferring it to the thread. Make sure to pull on your thread so that the loop doesn't open up and the materials fall out. Spin your bobbin, and as you release your fingers you'll see the CDC spin, and that locks them into the loop you created. So all we do now, just wrap it around the hook, stroking the fibers back, and whip finish. And there you have your green Brassie imitating the rockworm. Hope you enjoyed this pattern. Tie it, fish it, and enjoy your fly fishing. Bye.